All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of our AisleGo podcast here. Today, we're going to be giving you the tea on trends today with our generational growth that is in the wedding industry as of right now. Joining us today is Antonia James, the lovely owner of and creative designer of Kay's Events, Decorations, and Rentals. We're so excited to have you here, Antonia. How are you today?
I am good, and it's absolutely a pleasure to be here with you guys today.
Awesome, thank you. We love that you're joining us today. We can't wait to dive into some topics that we have for you, see what Kay's Events is all about, and how you're setting the trends within the wedding industry as of today's date. So we're very excited for that today.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'll just say really quickly, just a quick synopsis. I've been knowing Kay for about 5.5, 6 years, and I've had the privilege and the pleasure of working with Kay, and it's absolutely amazing. We call her Tony, and she's always professional. I love the fact that she's constantly creating new ways and exciting ways of delivering for the couple, or maybe the customer is a quinceañera, or maybe the customer is a first birthday. You're always going to get something new and something fresh. She's able to take any concept and create a really unique design and aesthetic to it that really pairs well with the customer's imagination, which is why we're so excited. And I was so happy to invite her on, and she's accepted our invitation. So, Miss Tony, why don't we talk a little bit about you and tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. First of all, let me say a pleasant good afternoon to all the viewers on whatever channel is being broadcast. I want to say thank you to TC for this opportunity to be on this podcast today. I want to say thank you also to Haley. Again, my name is Antonia James, and I am the CEO and creative designer of Kay's Event, Decorations, and Rental. We are located in Hamilton, New Jersey. Our showroom is actually located in a beautiful garden center called Dragonfly Farms. Something about me, I'm a mother of 2 and a grandmother of a 10-year-old, yes. The face might look young, but the body is not. Just a quick joke.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway, Kay's Event Decorations Rental, we offer anything from a full package designed for weddings, quince, sweet 16, anniversary, to your floral for your wedding, small or large. And we also offer a full line of rental, throne chairs, linens, etc. Anything that is going to add decor to your event. Again, it's such a pleasure to be here. My business is 4 years old, and in my bio, we started 4 years ago. I was started in my living room.
Mm-hmm.
I turned my dining room into my showroom, and that's where it all started. And then the pandemic hit, and things would look like gloom and doom at one time. We were saved by balloons. My sister and I both run the day-to-day operation of Kay's Event. And we have employees who comes in on a weekend, from florists to, employees who help us do the actual decorations on site. But during COVID, it was just me and my sister.
Yeah.
And we were running up and down the streets of Hamilton and Central New Jersey.
I'll say you're right in the midst of COVID and everything, having to deal with that.
Yes.
I can only imagine having an event company right in the midst of COVID. It's definitely been a struggle, I think, for everybody with all of that. And now I guess, how is it coming out of that, seeing the differences now?
It's been exciting, because now that we've been all cooped up for so long,
Yeah.
Now everybody's dying to celebrate. I think all of us who have survived COVID, we just want to celebrate, because we've lost so many people, loved ones, people we know, that now I think it's given us, even though some of the celebrations are more intimate, I think we want to celebrate life every moment we get, which is the baby shower, the quinces, the 40th, the milestone birthdays, the 50s, the 30s, anything to give us a chance to celebrate. I think that's what I'm seeing now, the demand for celebration.
Yes.
And I'll just say, I know I heard you talk about COVID and how you had to pivot, and a lot of wedding vendors that operate in the wedding space have had to pivot, and it's been something that's been difficult for some vendors. Some didn't make it through the COVID pandemic, unfortunately. But for the venues and the vendors that forced their way through and kind of made it through the pandemic, and now we're not quite all the way on the other side of the pandemic, but we're making our way through it. We have these brand new insights and we have these brand new interests from our customers and our clients. And so I'm curious, from an event designer or professional that comes from the event design background in that discipline, what are some of the trends? What are some of the aspects of things that you're seeing that the market's shifting into when it comes to event design and decor?
Well, first of all, a lot of event clients and the industry is trending where clients don't want to go out. They want to travel destination. And I think, again, as I just said before, people were home so much that sometimes if I have a wedding in my hometown, I feel like I'm not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the need to travel, the need to get out of or come, back on like living again. A lot of our brides want to, and it doesn't have to be destination like overseas.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of brides are utilizing the U.S., beaches and places that has historic, lot of historic sites.
Mm-hmm.
People want to just leave my
That
town, charm,
Mm-hmm.
just to travel and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I've noticed that because I've noticed, like, with brides that have this, they're from a certain area, or they might have heritage from a specific
Right.
area. They want to incorporate that experience and that theme into their wedding, even if they're having it in their backyard or in Philadelphia or around the corner at a
Right.
venue. They still want to incorporate that, and I think that's so key because, even as we look and focus towards Gen Zers who are having weddings and they're rethinking about the old traditions, and it's like, well, maybe that worked for grandma and great grandma and mom, but maybe not so much me. I've noticed that couples are more so into having a very sentimental experience.
Right.
Like, they don't want to be very performative for their weddings, but they want it to mean something. They want it to actually attach to something that connects with them and their individual. I know I had a couple that they were from Trinidad and Tobago, so they were from the islands, and but they were having their but they wanted to create that experience. So different homes, and we included it in every element of their event, from their ceremony to their cocktail hour to their reception. And so what I want to know from you is, how do you take, what's one of the methods that you use to take a couple thing that's important to them, like maybe it's a dog, or maybe it's they're into chess, or maybe they're into games, like they come to you and say,
Marbles,
hey, I'm into Disney.
Right.
Can you create a Disney themed wedding? Like, what's the thought process behind a couple, or behind the design that goes into delivering for a couple that needs a theme attached to their wedding?
Well, I always tell my employees, you can't deliver somebody's vision if you don't get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why consultation is always key for us at K's event. Whether we don't, like I was telling earlier on, I've had brides where we have not met in person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
However, we have consulted.
Mm-hmm.
And during consultation, I think it's to listen. Because you always pick up those things. Sometimes a bride might not even come out and say it, but as a designer, you listen to little clues.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back and you think about, okay, how do I, what did I pick up from this bride that she might not be even, they might not even realize that. Like, for example, I had
A little personal
had a client
touch.
where we consulted for her wedding. She was getting married all the way in PA, and then she was having a bridal shower at her house. So I went to her house, and then I noticed in her bathroom she had all these signs. There were signs everywhere. There was one meaning to her, and so she didn't, by not even realizing it, we had all those signs developed. And toward her cocktail hour, it was by a pool. And we put all those little signs. And up to today, she always speak about it because those are the little things. And I know the flowers are important, and the decor is always important. But I think a lot of times when you provide an experience for, like, I might consult with you, and your guests might know you, but a lot of guests come from the bride side and the groom side. When it's for me to take your experience and put it out there for all the guests, just know a little part of you. And so at the end of the day, it's about the experience. Because I always say anybody can do flowers, anybody can do, there's a lot of people in the industry. How can we deliver a client feeling and experience for 4 hours that the guests can walk away feeling like I was a part of not just a wedding, I experienced what the bride and groom, who a little bit, who they are.
Yes, awesome.
And I think that's really what's important. I mean, my feedback from all my clients, I try to tell my clients, there has to be an element of surprise. And, you know, I mean, 4 years, we've done a lot of weddings the last 2 years, and the feedback is, our clients are realizing after the fact, like, wow, you listened. I mean, you listened. And that's, everybody has a problem. There's so many problems, and you have a space, you provide a space. You don't just provide a space. We provide solutions to our clients, because you know, it's not a problem, but I need a space. And what you do with the Falls Banquet is you provide a solution to a problem, and that's what makes us unique. We, you know, sometimes it's like it's only 4 hours, but those memories last for a lifetime. And you can meet somebody from 2 years from now who went to your wedding, and they're like, oh my God, this and that. But that's where we task with. But I think one of the biggest things with us is that there's zero margin for error. And I don't think many people understand how little of a margin we have in this industry. You know, I can't call you and say, TC, you know what, man, I don't know, can we reschedule the wedding for tomorrow? Can we, you know, something went wrong, can we reschedule the wedding for next week?
Not at
So
all.
we always have that pressure on us that we have to deliver on time, but we also have to deliver our clients' expectations. And with that, it makes for an interesting week after week after week.
Of course.
Yes.
And I can already tell by your lovely display that you brought for us today. Your designs are exquisite. And I even, like, you were at our first vendor meet, and the arch that you had, I even told you that. I was like, I need to book you for my wedding. I was like, it was absolutely extraordinary. It was colorful, it was bright, and honestly, it showed your personality very well, I could say. So it definitely demonstrated Kay's events very well, and I think it's quite exquisite. So
thank you. And I think when I designed this today, brides have, the Gen Zs, they have moved away from the traditional decor. They want, I use the word wild. I don't want, you know, the boho look and the wild bouquets. And all, you know, very few brides now are looking for that round bouquet. They want that wild look. You know, there's no just round tables. There are round tables. There's rectangular tables. There's high flowers. There's low flowers. It's a different trend. They want a little bit of variety now than before, where you have the same centerpieces. You have the round bouquet. You have even the color scheme now. It's different tablecloths, because the generation is changing, and they're fun and colors. you know.
I'll say this, because this brought this to my memory. Again, so I'm not a florist or event designer. I'm a venue owner and operator. But doing what I do, you kind of have to know a little bit about every single aspect of a wedding. And so one thing that I learned, and I'm seeing it here in this beautiful, gorgeous flower display that I hope she'll allow me to take home to my wife after this. But I learned this thing. It was really cool. And I'm seeing, every time I look at flower decor inspiration or anything like that, I see it. The thriller, the filler, and the spiller.
Oh,
so
I just learned something.
Yes, I'm looking at it. And I see that just clearly the filler. You have the spiller. What are these called?
Ruscas, Italian ruscas.
Ruscas, and these are gorgeous, absolutely. And this is all real. There's no silk flowers here. This is clearly the spiller. And then you have these beautiful red and pink roses, which are the thriller. And I think that's just awesome. So if you guys are curious, you did hear that from me. The filler, thriller, and spiller for your flower decor.
The venue owner himself.
Yes, I'm actually going to steal that line when my next bride come in. And this is the filler, this is, what is it again?
The spiller and the thriller.
Okay, I'm going to use that line. Like, yeah, I made that up.
You can use it. You can go ahead and I used it too. But Haley, you had a question?
Yes. But yes, like going forth with all of these trends and even just being a designer. And I think that's the biggest thing like nowadays is design. It's not like, oh, you're just planning a wedding. It's event design now. And it's going into it and, like you said, capturing your clients, your personality and making it a little bit more wild. I know myself as like aspiring bride to be. I was like, my Pinterest page is full of all of those pampas grass and
Yes.
the palm leaves and all that kind of stuff with the monotone. And I was like, you even see it with the different colors. All bridesmaids dresses are all different colors now to
And
accentuate that.
Yeah.
And broaden that color palette to be able to be like an endless like mix of different designs. So, and I think that's like very captivating, like what you guys do. I envy it. I wish I could do it. So I do think it's quite brilliant on how you guys do that. And with those conforming trends and everything, how do you like, what's your approach to that? Like with everything, like, you know, you have your client that wants this different color palette. Is that like hard for you, or is that like something, you know, you give them the advice to kind of steer away from, or?
No. You know, it's in our industry is adaptability. You
Yeah.
have to be able to stay up, be educated on what's a new trend, and be able to adapt. And you know, the trend is changing so fast
Yeah.
that, you know, if you want to be a part of you know, be not only in the industry, but to be one of the leading or the best in the industry, you have to invest in yourself and what's out there. And sometimes I've had clients who come and they have the 1,000,001 Pinterest board. And I have a saying that says, there's a reason why there's a word that says too much. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, a client has a vision because they see it on a Pinterest board, but you have to say, well, okay, this space does not allow for that.
Yeah.
You know, you have to educate the client on, okay, the photo you just showed me, it's, I don't know, a 15,000 square foot. Your venue is only 10,000, so we have to cut that and that and that. But you also have to also know what you're talking about. You have to listen. And then there's a client who comes and says, I only have colors. That's it. I have no clue what I want. And then you can advise them on, okay, here's option A, here's option B, here's option C. They
Yeah.
might go with option A, or we can all take a little bit of this, that, and put it together.
Yeah.
Or there's a client that says, I want option A.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know what I'm hearing you say? I'm hearing you talk about managing expectations, really is what I'm hearing, because I know exactly what you're talking about. When a client comes in and they spill all of this information in front of you and say, oh, I saw this and I saw this and I want this. And you're trying to manage expectations because you're seeing what the couple wants and you're vibing with them, because obviously you want to deliver something that's going to blow their mind. But at the same time, what you're looking at and what they presented you to work with are two completely different things.
Right, and two designers. And I tell clients all the time, listen, this is somebody else's work. That's why it's called an inspirational photo.
That's it.
My design is going to be different. I don't want to take somebody's work and copycat.
That's correct.
Yeah.
You're going to give me a base. But at the end of it all, if the client says, they're actually like, is it going to look just like that? Is it? And I'm like, no, it's not, because this is my design. However, I can tell you that I will deliver your vision. That's all I can promise you. But I can't promise you that it's going to look exactly like that.
And that is a
because
great
that is
promise.
not my work.
And that's really what it comes down to, is like, so when a bride is booking with a vendor like yourself, an event designer, they're really investing in your expertise.
Yes.
Like, okay, this is what I see, and I think there's, again, we talked about managing expectations. You have to almost kind of let them know that you reached out to me for a reason.
Right.
You trust my judgment,
Yeah.
and you trust that I'm going to deliver for you an experience that's unique, but as special as you are.
Right.
And that is what separates me from all the other firms. And I think as vendors, that's something that we definitely need to hone in on, especially when we're dealing with, let's just be honest, Gen Zers who have more focused appetite in certain things compared to all the others. Back 10, 15, 20 years ago, you saw one wedding, you saw all weddings.
Yes.
Yep.
But today, this bride wants something very specific, and she doesn't want it to look anything like how the others look, because she just got back from her girlfriend's wedding, her sister's wedding, her cousin's wedding.
Needs to
and she
be
wants
better than
something
that.
Very unique, right? And so, like, a lot of that has to do with the fact that you have to have confidence and trust in your ability. They reached out to you for a reason. They saw something in you. They saw something in your Instagram profile or your website or your Google listing, Facebook, whatever, TikTok, that says, wow, I can see that person handling my design and decor. And I think that's really where you kind of convince the customer or the couple that, hey, you chose me for a reason. Relax, I got this.
Right.
And let me take your vision and show you what we can do with this. And I think that's awesome.
I actually had a client who came, she lives in New York, but her future husband family is from here. And they were looking at venues, and they chose a venue here in Hamilton. And when we had a consultation a few weeks ago, what she said to me was, she said, I've looked at many florists, but when I looked at your Instagram, it wasn't just the florist, it was the art.
Mm-hmm.
And then follow up, she came to my showroom, and my showroom is, I'm a stickler for it, because it sells itself. And so for me, hearing someone young and hip and in the city, New York is the trend, to say that to me, it was just the ultimate compliment. Like, yes, you know, you're not just a florist, you're an artist.
Yeah, you have something I want that I can't get in New York.
Right, and before I sit in your chair, I think I've already made up my mind that I'm going to go with you. Yeah. But however, sell yourself. Because a lot of times clients shop you 3 times.
Absolutely.
They shop you online.
You have to earn their business.
Yes, and it's earning the trust. But then that's where that personality really comes into play when you sit down with a client. I mean, I was telling Haley outside, I booked a client a few years ago. What's surprising lately is that I've booked several weddings, full service weddings, where I'm like, okay, who's the bride? I'm going to deliver her bouquet, but I have not saw her. We've never met. But I think that's when your work project confidence. Brides tend to just call you and says, hey, I see your work. This is what I need. And then you go in and you're like, all right, trying to figure out in the hotel room, like, okay, who's the bride? And we did a wedding 2 years ago for a bride, just before COVID. And, I delivered, it was a beer mountain. It was quite a bit of a way. So I delivered her bouquets.
So now you got to tell us what a beer mountain is.
I know, it was a resort. It was all the way in Pier, but it was gorgeous.
Beer mountain.
We decorated, and then we waited, and we're like, all right, what are we waiting for? And then I'm seeing, and everybody's like, oh, that's the groom. And it's a helicopter just running around up there, circling around. And I'm like, what the heck is that? But anyway, the priest was running late, so now the helicopter is not landing until everything is in place. And then the bride comes in this gorgeous white carriage, and I'm like, this is a Cinderella story. But then there was guests who was overlooking, and they were like, she has to be a Bridezilla. Because just the way everything was just replaying. And I said to them, do you know, I'm the florist, but I've never met her until today. It was quite the opposite. So even brides who've got elaborate weddings, they trust you. Because I was stunned that what was happening, and she was a bride that I have never met.
Yeah.
So again, we have to sell ourselves. People are buying to us. Yes, or talent, or the services we provide is so important. But nobody can duplicate you. Nobody can duplicate you.
Of course.
And when a bride, they want to know, I'm trusting you with the most intimate day of my life.
That's right.
My wedding day.
Yeah.
Can you deliver?
I'm so glad that you brought up those experiences, because I think this would be a great time to bring up AisleGo, because what you're describing and how you've noticed that more and more frequently brides are booking you without ever having met you, even though sometimes there is some correspondence, but having met face to face kind of relates back to what you mentioned earlier about brides booking those destination experiences, maybe not having the chance to actually go to those locations, but know exactly what they want and know the vendors they want to work with. And so AisleGo, just a quick little information about AisleGo, is we create the space for brides to book their vendors on our platform. So we've got our app coming out pretty soon. We're really, really excited about it. And so if you go to AisleGo.com, that's AisleGo.com. It should be on the screen right now. Just mosey on over there. We are taking pre-sign-ups for vendors. Kay's already one of our signed-up vendors. We're really excited about that. And what we have is we have an app that's coming to market in the spring of 2023 that's really going to connect couples to vendors like Kay's Event Decor. Right, and where you'll be able to browse through various different vendors, decide which vendors you want to reach out to, look at their products, look at their services. You'll be able to browse through photos and videos and things like that, and even message the owners of the various different vendors that you source on our app. So I highly recommend you guys go over to AisleGo.com. If you are a couple that's looking for vendors, possibly looking to book a destination wedding, go ahead and fill out that form, put your email in there, and do a pre-sign up, and one of our event coordinators will reach out to you. Maybe you're a vendor and you're like, wow, I'm really interested in learning a little bit more about this platform and how it can benefit my business. Even if you're just starting off, maybe you're a veteran, you've been doing it for 20, 30 years. This app is going to connect you with buyers that Ms. Tony has been talking about, Buyers that trust your work, they've researched you, they trust your work. Now they want to take the next step. And so they find you on our app, AisleGo. They reach out to you, and then the relationship blossoms from there. So that's our app, AisleGo.com. It's going to be launching spring of 2023. And we also have an affiliate program that's coming out pretty soon.
We do.
I don't want to give out too much information about that because that is still being produced and loaded very shortly. But
Yes.
keep your ears to the ground for that program. That's an affiliate program that's going to completely change the game when it comes to connecting vendors with couples. So
Yes.
really excited about that.
Yeah.
And congratulations, because I've learned in my way when clients trust you, they trust who you recommend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they will ask you like, do you know this, do you know that? And once they trust you, the people you recommend, they automatically want to trust.
Absolutely.
So with your app, I think it would be so much easier for a bride to just go on and find everybody, you know, in the same platform.
That's correct.
And once they trust that you deliver, they're not going to question the vendors that you put there.
That's right.
And it's a one-stop shop. Nobody, you know, I gotta go here, I gotta get the flowers, I gotta get this. Providing that platform for a bride or anyone who's having an event, it is so important because they, you know, you really is gonna help navigate them through, you know, that waters.
That's exactly the reason why we've been developing this the way we have. And listen, it's very important, like what you said, they've got to trust the platform. Like, you're not going to go on some Fugazi app, put your credit card information in there to book a destination travel vacation, right? We want to be like the Expedias or the Airbnb of the wedding space. And so what you're saying is exactly right. That's the reason why we're coming to you with professionals, so that you can see the vendors that we work with. You can go to their websites. We're going to give Tony the time to tell us a little bit about her social media profiles, where you can follow her and that type of thing.
Yes.
We really want to bring reputable vendors to our app to display the services and products and features that they offer, so that couples can browse through and book those vendors all from our app. And Tony said it better than I could. Everything's there. Right? So even services that you did not even know existed in the market that you're having your wedding, like a harpist or a violinist, or probably somebody that does flamethrowing. I'm into like pyrotechnics. So, you know, services that you didn't know, like maybe a group out there needs somebody to flamethrow at their
Call TC. He's the guy with the flamethrower.
I was in Dublin, Ireland. True story. I was in Dublin, Ireland at Engagement, which is one of the premier global summits for event vendors and wedding vendors. And every night they had a different function at a different location. It was like an after party. And the last one was the gala. I was surprised. It was in a tent. But right outside, they had guys throwing flaming, like juggling flaming bowling pins. And I'm like, you would never think of something like this at a wedding. But if there was a guy in my market that was certified to juggle flaming bowling pins, I want him signed up on my app so that brides can book the guy that juggles fire.
Definitely
right
would be
outside
different. Definitely would be different.
And that's coming back to the point where I says, if you be proactive and educate yourself, you can bring your brides and your clients things that they wouldn't even think about.
That's right.
You know, so I'm leaving for Jamaica from the 5th to the 8th of December. Amuna Lunch is a really famous bridal magazine. They're holding their retreat in Jamaica, and I'm looking forward to it. Because I think going there and getting the wealth of knowledge that I can bring back to share with you guys and the brides and AisleGo, and you know, it's gonna help grow our platform next year.
That's
For
awesome.
sure.
Propel us to bigger things.
Definitely.
Yes.
And we'll definitely have to get you back on here, tell us a little bit more about that experience and get some insights on what you learned from going there. So we're just going to pivot a little bit here with you, Antonia, and we're going to ask, we have some questions from a couple of our viewers that have questions for you and want to know a little bit more about Kay's event and how they can get in contact with you, that sort of thing. So from our audience questions here, it's like, how do you handle an indecisive client? Like, have you ever had to take the reins on anything in that sort of way?
Yes.
To get them, you know, to help them make decisions for them, that sort of thing.
I think when a lot of clients, I'm not sure I've got some clients who are indecisive. But I think that's where your confidence comes in. First of all, your portfolio helps a lot. And then when you sit with a client, you can't let anybody act as if they're stupid. You have to, you advise, but you also ask for, what do you think?
Yeah.
You know, it's not, you don't tell a client because if you feel like they don't know. You say, this is what you have to do, or this is, you said, what do you think? You show them different suggestions. So it's all about the approach.
Yeah.
Because even though I might not be familiar with something, it doesn't mean that I don't know. I'm just not too familiar with it. Hence why I'm coming to you, the professional,
Yeah.
for your advice. So, yes.
I think we have a question that I'm curious about. I'm going to scroll through a few of these, and I'm going to jump down to this
Go ahead.
question here. What's your craziest Bridezilla experience?
Hi.
My craziest Bridezilla experience.
Or Groomzilla or Momzilla?
Well, you know what? It was funny. It wasn't really crazy. I had a wedding actually in September, and it was the sweetest couple. I've done several events for them, and when they messaged me, I always remember the message. It says, "Jamel and I would be honored if you would do a wedding," and to me, it was like, wow. But anyway, she was the easygoing one.
Mm-hmm.
She said to me, "He's a bright,
Groomzilla.
Groomzilla." He was particular. It wasn't in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, after the wedding, he was waiting for her for the first look.
Mm-hmm.
I understood why he was the way he was, wanting everything to be perfect. Because to him, this was a one-time thing. To her, she was so deserving of it.
Mm-hmm.
So even though she was plain and simple, he thought that she deserved the best. And he was putting every single effort. I want this, I want that. I'm like, okay. So, and again, there's always a reason. Sometimes we say it's Bridezilla or Groomzilla. I think you have to look beyond their attitude or how somebody present themselves and ask why.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this person that way? Even though you want to just, I've got clients where I'm like, can I pay you to? I'm gonna say it on. I'm actually gonna say this. I've got clients where I want to say like, can I pay you to take your deposit back?
Oh man.
However, every time I'm in that position and the event is done, I've looked back and I've realized that those are the clients that propel me a step further.
Yeah.
Because they pushes you beyond your limit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get so comfortable. We don't want to be pushed. We feel like, okay, so I know it. But sometimes if you listen, you deliver, you're like, wow, I wouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So my hardest clients or my most difficult clients has been my best result.
Yes.
I had a client just recently, she graduated, doctorate, and we booked the event. It was a doctorate graduation.
Mm-hmm.
We booked the event a year out, and then 3 weeks into the coming down, she's like, I don't even know what I'm getting. I'm like, it's on your proposal. And we went through 2 weeks of, my God. Okay,
Oh, man.
let's just say I cried. I'm like, please God.
She just got her doctorate.
It's like, what happened in between then and this?
Yeah.
But we went through it, and at the end, when she came in, she started crying, and I said to her, why you didn't trust me? She's like, I did. I'm like, yeah, well, I stopped communicating with you because at some point there has to be some kind of surprise. It's like she wanted every detail, and if I go red, she go white, and I'm like, all right, that's it. You paid me. I'm done conversating. At the end of the day, I'm going to deal with the consequences. But she loved it, and at the end, I said to her, the next event I do for you, book me and leave me alone.
Oh my gosh.
But at the same time, it was amazing how it came out.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And I was like, and that's funny. I was like, my mom's always even said that. She's always said her hardest teachers were always like her best lessons that she's learned, because she came out brighter on the other side, and she took knowledge that she gained from that and can grow from that and be able to, execute something on a higher scale now, because, she was challenged to put her best foot forward, put her forward thinking, and, and now the next time you have something that's challenging in the way, it's like, okay. I was like, now I remember that time that, that bride asked me to do this, and you know what, I can do it. You can do it. And you push yourself to do it. So definitely will say that.
Sorry. His name is Marlon. He used the word disgusting when I first met him, and he had a party for his mom, and he keep using the word disgusting. He's over the top, and I was like, oh my God, I can't stand this guy. Once we booked, he was keep adding stuff, and he wanted, and then at the end, I messaged him and I said, you're the first person who have made me realize the word disgusting is not a bad thing. And now we're working together, but some clients, the uneasy clients, raises your standard.
I love that glass half full type worldview outlook, and that's awesome.
I love
I
that.
think we want to give you some time now just to talk a little bit about how people can follow you, tell them where they can find you and that type of thing as we begin to close out.
All right, so again, in a case event, we're located at Dragonfly Farms on Coosa Road. It's a nice garden center. Our showroom is right in the middle of the garden center. It's huge. We've got everything there from tablescapes to backdrop. We're online at caseeventdecorations.com. We're on Instagram at Case Event Decorations 1, on Facebook at Case Event Decorations and Rentals. As you know, we're in Central New Jersey, but we're open to traveling.
I heard you service New York and
Yes,
even to
we serve
Pennsylvania.
it. Yes, so that's where you can find us. Always reach out. Like I said, our showroom. I've heard many clients say to me that our showroom on social media, it doesn't do it justice because you only see snippets of it. So I also tell my clients all the time, if you can, just stop in. Dragonfly is open 7 days a week, so you don't have to be there for us. We don't have to be there. You can just walk in and get to see the full spectrum of what we offer.
That's awesome.
And it has worked.
Awesome.
It has worked for us.
Cool. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much, Antonia. Yes, so be sure to check her out. I'll be sure to put more of her information in our comments below and a little bit of a follow-up on this. So if you haven't already, like TC said, follow our social media pages. That is at AisleGo app on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You'll get more updates on more of like our affiliate programs and updates on Antonia and her business, as well as she is a part of our vendor community. So if you haven't joined our vendor community as well on Facebook, that is AisleGo Wedding Vendors and Bucks /Philadelphia. So be sure to do that. If you join that group, we're also hosting our next vendor meet, which you were a part of, on November 1st, right? Yeah, November 1st.
January 12th. The vendor meet.
Our last one was November 1st.
the last one.
Yeah, and then our next one is going to be hosted at the Falls Banquet again on January 12th from 6 to 8 p.m. So you'll get more information on that if you join that group. We hope, Antonia, you can join us next time as well. And your lovely display that you brought last time. We'd love to see more of that. So be sure to join that group if you haven't already. But thank you so much for Antonia for joining us. We can't wait to do this again with you after you get back from your big show. And to all of our viewers, make sure you join us next Wednesday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on our Facebook or our YouTube. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, and happy planning to you.
Congratulations
Thank
again.
you. Thank you so
So
much.
I admire you.
Thank you.
Really, truly, I've admired you since I've met you.
All right, I didn't pay her to say that, y'all.
I wouldn't disclose a figure, but on a serious note, you want to admire and want to aspire to.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys so much. And again, tune in next Wednesday at 2 p.m. We'll be right back here with AisleGo Podcast. Thank you.